The galaxy was buzzing with news. A new challenge had been sent out, not by a peaceful race, but by the Zarnog Empire, a proud and powerful alien civilization that believed in strength above all. They sent a message through all star channels, translated into every known language. We challenge the strongest of each world to face ours. One warrior from each species, single combat. The winner earns full control over the rift routes and all surrounding trade systems. The rift routes were important. Any ship that controlled them could move faster, trade quicker, and earn more. It meant power, and the Zarnog wanted it. Many civilizations stayed silent. They knew the Zarnog champion, General Vorik, was undefeated. He had fought over 200 battles. He had armor forged from collapsing stars and a weapon that glowed with energy. No one wanted to face him. But Earth laughed. In a military base on the moon, a group of human commanders read the challenge. One of them sighed and said, "Do we really need to answer this? They're just showing off." The top general, an old woman with gray hair and sharp eyes, smiled. "We'll send someone. Not one of our current champions." "Though, then who?" "Send Corporal Nate Harper." Everyone turned to her. "The guy who just retired last week." "Yes," she said. "He's already on Luna Base. And I think this is the kind of nonsense he'd enjoy." Nate Harper, at that exact moment, was asleep. He had been at a retirement party the night before. Drinks were shared, songs were sung, old stories were told. Nate had laughed, cried, and toasted his past. When a young officer knocked on his door early the next morning, Nate groaned. "What time is it?" he asked, rubbing his face. 0600, sir. Command wants you to gear up. You're being sent to Gorthon Prime." "For what?" Nate blinked in confusion. "A fight." "What kind of fight?" "One-on-one. With an alien." "Warlord." Nate stared at him. "Do I get coffee first?" "Within hours." Nate was inside a small military shuttle. His head hurt. His eyes were red. His stomach didn't feel right. The pilot looked back and asked, "You okay?" "Not really," Nate muttered. "This hangover's killing me." You're about to fight the galaxy's most feared warrior?" "Yeah, I heard." "Does he like coffee?" The pilot didn't know what to say. Gorthon Prime was a rocky, cold planet, empty, lifeless. Perfect for battles, a giant arena had been built there by the Zarnog. Its walls stood hundreds of feet tall. Thousands of aliens from different species filled the seats, ready to watch. On one side, General Vorik stood in silence. He was tall and heavy. His body was covered in dark armor. His eyes glowed red, and steam came from his shoulders. His weapon, a massive energy blade, was sharp and loud. The crowd cheered when he raised it. Then a small door opened across the arena. Nate stepped out slowly, holding a paper cup in one hand and a helmet in the other. He squinted at the bright light and mumbled, "Why is it so sunny today?" Some aliens in the crowd looked confused. Was this really the human champion? Nate wore a simple armored vest and cargo pants. His boots were dusty. His eyes still looked sleepy. He looked around and said, "This place could use some music." An alien judge floated down and spoke in a deep voice. "Combatants, are you ready?" Vorik stood tall and raised his weapon. Nate raised his coffee cup. "As ready as I'll ever be." The judge looked confused, then said, "Begin." And just like that, the galaxy's strangest battle had started. As the signal sounded, General Vorik charged forward like a thunderstorm. His massive armor clanked with each step. The energy blade in his hand glowed brighter, cutting through the air with a fierce hum. The crowd roared in excitement. Many believed this would be a quick victory. Nate Harper barely moved. He took a slow sip from his coffee, his eyes half closed. The hangover still made his head throb. He rubbed his temple and muttered, "Wow, that's a big guy." Vorik swung his blade in a powerful arc, aiming to end the fight in one strike. Dust and rocks flew everywhere as the blade sliced through the rocky ground. Nate barely had time to jump back, landing awkwardly on one foot. He stumbled but didn't fall. Okay, Nate said, shaking his head. "Too fast for me first thing." The crowd was shocked. The champion was strong and fast, but Nate was still standing. Some aliens whispered, "He must be weak." No chance. Nate wasn't a typical soldier. Years of special training had given him quick reflexes. Even tired, his body remembered what to do. His mind was foggy, but his muscles moved on their own. He threw a small rock towards Vork's face. It wasn't meant to hurt, but to distract. Vork blinked. Surprised by the sudden attack, Nate used this chance to roll behind a large boulder. "Hey," Nate said, "I don't want to hurt you too much, just take it easy." Vork growled in anger. He smashed the ground with his fist, causing a shockwave that shook the arena. Dust filled the air, hiding the fighter's dot. When it cleared, Nate was gone. The crowd looked around. Where was the human? Then, Nate popped up behind Vork and kicked him hard in the back. The massive warrior stumbled forward, surprised by the humans. "Speed! That was a cheap move," Vork shouted. "Cheap but effective." Nate smiled weakly. The fight turned into a strange dance. Vork used his strength and heavy attacks. Nate used quick moves, dodges, and clever tricks. Sometimes Nate looked tired or confused, but he kept fighting back in the audience. Many were confused. Some thought Nate was crazy. Others began to respect him. How could such a simple human stand against the strongest warrior? On the sidelines, a group of alien commanders watched nervously. One said, "This human is different. He does not fight like others." Another added, "He is reckless, but he is not weak." Meanwhile, Nate was thinking about the fight, but also about his headache. Every hit he dodged made the pounding. In his head worse. "I should have skipped that last drink," he muttered. But something inside him pushed harder. He remembered his past missions, the battles he survived, and the friends he lost. This fight was not just about honor or the galaxy. It was about proving that humans should not be ignored. As the battle went on, Vork grew angry and more aggressive. He started using strange devices hidden in his armor. Small energy beams shot from his gauntlets. Powerful force fields popped up around him. Nate saw this and frowned. "That's cheating," he said. He realized he had to fight smarter. Using his surroundings, Nate lured Vork into narrow rocky paths where the big warrior's heavy armor slowed him down. Nate's smaller size let him slip through cracks and hide behind rocks. Then, with a quick move, Nate grabbed a loose stone and threw it with full force at Vork's helmet. The helmet cracked. The crowd gasped. Vork growled loudly, pulling out a huge energy cannon from his bag. He aimed directly at Nate. But Nate was ready. He dove behind a large boulder just as the cannon fired, causing a bright explosion. The ground shook violently. When the dust settled, Nate stood up, coughing but unharmed. "Not bad," he said with a tired smile. "But it'll take more than that." The battle was far from over. Across the galaxy, many who watched the fight started to change their minds about humans. This was not just a lucky fighter. This was a warrior who fought with heart, skill, and unexpected cunning. And for Nate Harper, the Marine with a hangover, this fight was just beginning. The rocky ground of Gorthon Prime trembled beneath the weight of the two fighters. The crowd watched in silence, waiting for what would happen next. General Vork's armor was cracked and his breathing heavy. Nate Harper's steps were slow but steady. The hangover still clouded Nate's mind, but his will was strong. Vork growled low and wiped dust from his faceplate. "You fight well, human," he said, voice deep and rough. "But strength wins. Surrender now." Nate smiled weakly. "Sorry, big guy. Can't do that." Vork swung his massive energy blade with fury. The blade cut through stone and left a glowing trail in the air. Nate dodged quickly, rolling on the ground and kicking up dust. He didn't have the strength of Vork, but he had something else: speed and willpower. "You rely too much on gadgets," Nate said, catching his breath. "Let me show you how humans fight." Suddenly, Nate charged forward. He grabbed a broken piece of metal from the ground, rough but sharp. Vork laughed loudly. "You think that can hurt me?" "I don't think," Nate said. "I know." He dodged Vork's heavy swing and stabbed at the armor's joints. Sparks flew as the metal piece scraped against the mighty warrior's plates. Vork roared and pushed Nate away with one powerful hand. The impact sent Nate flying backward. He hit the ground hard, but quickly got up. "You're tough," Vork said. But this ends now. With a sudden burst of speed, Vork threw a heavy punch. Nate barely blocked it with his forearm. The force hurt, but Nate gritted his teeth and kept fighting. As they battled, flashbacks came to Nate's mind. He remembered years ago, fighting in faraway deserts and freezing mountains. He had faced dangers no one else could handle. Many times, he had lost friends. Those memories made his head hurt even more. This fight isn't just about you, he whispered to himself. It's about all humans. The crowd watched in awe. Many aliens had never seen a fighter like Nate before. He looked small, tired, and clumsy sometimes, but he never gave up. Vork noticed something strange. Nate's attacks were not random. Each move was calculated, precise. He was fighting like a machine, but with heart. You are not just a drunk soldier, Vork said quietly. You are a warrior. Nate smiled. Faintly. Thanks, but I still want to go home and sleep. Then, Vork used a hidden power. His eyes glowed bright red, and the energy blade started spinning fast. He shouted and charged with all his strength. Nate had only seconds to react. He ducked and rolled under the spinning blade, feeling the wind rush past him. He grabbed a piece of broken metal and threw it at Vork's leg. The metal hit and caused the warrior to stumble. Now, Nate thought. He ran fast, jumped on Vork's back, and tried to pull down the helmet. Vork struggled fiercely, but was caught off guard. The crowd gasped loudly. You're crazy, Vork said, trying to shake Nate off. Maybe, Nate said, but crazy can win. With all his strength, Nate pulled harder. The helmet cracked and loosened. Vork growled and fell to one knee. Nate held tight. Then, Vork stopped struggling. He looked at Nate and said, You have my respect, human. Nate let go slowly. Thanks. Now how about we end this peacefully? The judge in the arena floated down and said, The fight is paused. We need time to decide. While the fighters rested, scientists and commanders from many worlds talked quietly. They were amazed. How could a human with a hangover fight a champion like Vork and almost win? Back on Earth, the news had spread quickly. People were proud but worried. They knew Nate was not just a soldier. He was a symbol of human strength and determination. Nate sat quietly in a small tent near the arena. He closed his eyes and took deep breaths. The headache was still there, but he felt stronger inside. I'm not just fighting for me, he thought. I'm fighting for everyone who believes humans are weak. We're not. The next day, the battle would continue, but now, the galaxy had a new story to tell, a story of a Marine with a hangover who stood against the strongest warrior in the stars. The sun rose slowly over Gorthon Prime. The rocky arena was quiet now. Both fighters were resting, but the tension in the air was thick. The galaxy was watching. No one wanted to miss what would happen next. Nate Harper sat on a cracked stone, his hands wrapped around a warm cup of water. The headache from his hangover was still there, pounding gently. He closed his eyes and thought about the fight so far. This was not just a challenge for power or pride, it was a test. The aliens believed humans were weak, careless, and slow, but Nate had shown them something else. He had shown that humans could fight with heart and mind even when tired or hurt. Far away from the arena, in the alien ships and command centers, discussions were happening. The Zarnik leaders were nervous. Their strongest warrior was hurt and humbled. Some called for a quick end. Others wanted to learn more about this strange human. Back in the arena, General Vork was sharpening his energy blade carefully. His armor was damaged but still powerful. His glowing eyes were full of thought. He respected Nate, but he could not accept defeat. This human fights with unusual skill, Vork said to his aide. His moves are strange but effective. He uses speed and tricks instead of strength. Should I bring more weapons? The aide asked nervously. No, Vork said. This must be a true fight. No tricks except those from him, years past. And Leo became a legend not only on Xerax 4, but across many galaxies. Stories of the human who laughed after a venom. Beast bite were told in spaceports, schools, and council chambers. But Leo never forgot where he began, the dangerous jungle that first tested him. One day, Leo received a message from Captain Silent. The jungle planet faced a new threat. A massive storm was coming, stronger than any before. It could destroy the jungle and all its creatures. Leo didn't hesitate. He set course for Xerax 4, ready to help his old friends and the jungle he loved. When he arrived, the storm was near. Dark clouds covered the sky, and fierce winds blew through the trees. The alien team worked to protect the camp, but they knew it was not enough. Leo gathered the venom beasts and guardian creatures. He spoke calmly to them, his voice strong. "This storm will pass," he said, "but we must work together to save our home." The beasts growled in agreement. Leo led them through the jungle, helping clear paths and protect weaker animals. The team worked as one, guided by Leo's courage. The storm hit with full force. Lightning struck trees, and heavy rain flooded the land, but the jungle held stronger than anyone expected. After the storm passed, the team saw the damage. Many trees fell, but life survived. The jungle would grow again. Captain Silent smiled at Leo. "Your heart saved this place." Leo laughed softly. "We saved it together." The people of Xerax were built a new monument, not just for Leo, but for all who protected the jungle. Far away, in the stars, powerful beings watched. They remembered the human strength and kindness. Leo's story was more than survival. It was a message that courage, laughter, and love could change even the deadliest places. Leo looked at the jungle one last time before leaving. He whispered, "I'll be back. This is home." The jungle roared in reply, alive and strong. And the legend of the human who laughed after a venom beast's bite lived on forever, inspiring hope and courage in every corner of the galaxy. Nate opened his eyes and stood up slowly. He felt a bit better, but knew he had to be careful. The next part of the battle would be harder. As he walked back to the center of the arena, he saw the crowd waiting. Aliens from many species were talking quietly. Some were still surprised by the Marine's performance. Vorak stood tall and said, "Human, you have surprised me, but this is not over." Nate smiled tiredly. "Good. I'm not done yet either." The judge floated above and signaled to start. This time, the fight was different. Vork moved faster, attacking with a combination of sword strikes and energy blasts. Nate dodged and blocked as best as he could, but he knew he could not only run, he needed a plan. Thinking quickly, Nate looked around the arena for something useful. Near the edge, he spotted an old machine half buried in the rocks. It looked like a broken mining drone. "Maybe I can use that," he thought. Vorak charged again. Swinging his blade, Nate rolled to the side and sprinted toward the machine. With one hand, he grabbed a heavy metal pipe from the drone's remains. Vorak laughed. "You come with a stick to fight me?" Nate didn't answer. He held the pipe tightly and waited. When Vork came close, Nate swung the pipe with all his might. The pipe hit Vork's leg armor with a loud clang. Sparks flew. The big warrior stumbled, surprised by the human's strength. "Not bad for a drunk," Vork said, steadying himself. Nate smiled. "Thanks. Now it's your turn to be surprised." The fight became faster and fiercer. Nate used the pipe to block energy blasts and strike weak spots in Vork's armor. He was careful not to get hit hard, but he attacked with everything he had. The crowd was cheering louder than before. Many started chanting Nate's name. "Harper, Harper, Harper." For the first time, humans from Earth watching the fight felt proud and hopeful. They knew their Marine was not just a drunk soldier. He was a symbol of human courage and strength. The battle lasted hours. Both fighters were tired and wounded, but neither wanted to give up. Vork used a powerful blast to knock Nate down. Dust rose around the Marine. The big warrior walked toward him, ready to finish the fight. But Nate smiled and whispered, "Not yet." With a quick move, Nate rolled to the side, grabbed a loose rock, and threw it with full force at Vork's helmet. The rock hit the helmet's cracked part, breaking it further. Vork cried out and covered his head. Nate used this chance to jump and strike Vork's chest with the metal pipe. The armor cracked. Vork fell to his knees. The arena fell silent. Both fighters looked at each other. Vork breathed heavily but smiled. You are a true warrior, Nate Harper. Nate sat down, exhausted. And you are a worthy opponent. The judge floated down and said, "The fight is paused again. We will review the battle." Nate closed his eyes and thought, this fight is bigger than me. It's about showing the galaxy who humans really are. While the arena was quiet, Nate Harper sat alone in a small tent near the battleground. His head still throbbed from the hangover, but his thoughts were clear. He was not just fighting for himself. He was fighting for all humans, everyone who thought Earth was weak, slow, or easy to beat. Nate's mind drifted back to his past missions. He had joined the military when he was young, full of hope and dreams. But war was different from what he imagined. He had lost friends, seen pain, and felt the weight of responsibility. He remembered a desert mission where his team was trapped by enemy forces. He fought alone for hours until help arrived. He carried his wounded friends to safety, ignoring his own pain. Those memories hurt more than his headache. They don't know me, Nate whispered. They don't know what humans can do. His thoughts were interrupted by a knock on the tent door. A young medic entered, holding a small cup of water and some pills. "You should take these," she said kindly. "The headache will ease soon." Nate took the pills and nodded. "Thanks. This fight isn't over." Outside the tent, the galaxy's Great Council was meeting. Leaders from many species discussed the unexpected battle. "This human is unlike any other," said one alien diplomat. "He fights not with power, but with heart and cunning." "We underestimated them," said another. "Perhaps. Humans deserve a place at the table of great powers." Meanwhile, General Vork rested in his own chamber. His armor was repaired, but the cracks were still visible. He studied Nate's moves carefully. "He fights with pain," Vork said quietly, "with memories and strength from within." His aide looked nervous. "Should we ask for a rematch or stop now?" Vork shook his head. "No, this fight must continue until one stands alone." The day of the next battle arrived. The arena was filled with even more spectators. The air was thick with excitement and tension. Nate and Vork met at the center. Nate felt stronger now. His headache was less, and his mind was sharper. Vork nodded with respect. "Let us finish this, human." Nate smiled. "I'm ready." The judge gave the signal. The fight was different this time. Nate moved with purpose. He attacked with skill and used the environment well. He pushed Vork to the edge of the arena and dodged heavy blows. Vork used his energy cannon more carefully. Each blast was deadly, but Nate's training helped him avoid the worst. During a quick break, Nate noticed a hidden control panel near the arena's edge. It looked old and forgotten. "Maybe I can use that," he thought. As Vork charged, Nate ran to the panel and pressed some buttons. Suddenly, the arena shook. Large mechanical arms lifted from the ground. The crowd gasped. Machines from the arena's old days had come alive. Vork was caught off guard as one arm swung toward him. He dodged but was slow. Nate used this chance to strike hard at Vork's leg. The armor cracked again. The warrior roared but smiled. "Clever human." The fight grew fiercer. Both fighters were tired, bruised, and breathing hard. Nate used everything he had learned in the military: how to stay calm, how to think quickly, how to never give up. He remembered the faces of his friends, his family, and the earth he loved. With a final burst of energy, Nate knocked Vork to the ground. The warrior looked up and nodded slowly. "You win this round, human," Vork said. The judge floated down and said, "The battle will end soon. A final match will decide the champion." Nate sat on a rock, exhausted but proud. "This fight is not just for me," he thought. "It is for all humans to show they are strong, even when the odds are against them." The galaxy was watching now. The story of the Marine with a hangover was becoming legend. And Nate knew the final battle would be the hardest. The arena was quiet as the final day arrived. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows over Gorthon Prime's rocky surface. Thousands of eyes watched, waiting for the last battle between Nate Harper, the tired Marine, and General Vork, the strongest warrior of the Zarnuk Empire. Nate sat in the corner of the arena, stretching his sore muscles. His body ached from the fights over the last days, but his mind was sharp. The hangover had mostly gone, replaced by a steady calm. He looked out at the crowd and felt their eyes on him. They expect me to lose, he thought, but I will not give up. Vork stood across the arena, his armor repaired and shining. His glowing red eyes met Nate's. Despite his size and power, there was respect in his gaze. You have fought well, human, Vork said. Now, we finish this. Nate nodded. Let's end it. The judge's voice echoed. Begin final match. Vork charged first, faster and stronger than before. His energy blade cut through the air with deadly speed. Nate dodged, rolling on the ground. Feeling the wind from the blade rush past him, he used all his training, quick reflexes, smart moves, and careful timing. He did not fight with brute strength, but with heart and mind. As Vork swung again, Nate caught a glimpse of a weak spot near the warrior's left shoulder. Years of battle had worn down that area. Nate made a plan. He dodged, rolled, and threw a small rock to distract Vork's attention. Then, with speed, he attacked the weak spot with a sharp piece of metal he kept hidden. Vork growled in pain and anger. The armor cracked more. Impressive, Vork said through heavy breathing. But not enough. Vork activated a hidden shield, glowing bright around him. Nate saw the energy field and knew he had to act fast. He remembered the old mining machines buried beneath the arena. If he could make one move again, it might help. Nate ran toward the control panel and pressed buttons quickly. The machine stirred and moved once more. A heavy arm swung near Vork, who struggled to keep balance. Using this chance, Nate charged and landed a strong punch. Vork stumbled but stood tall. You fight with tricks, Vork said, but I respect you. Nate smiled, breathing hard. I fight to survive. The battle raged on. Both fighters were tired but determined. The crowd was silent now, watching every move with awe. Finally, Vork raised his energy blade for a strong strike. Nate saw an opening. He jumped, grabbed Vork's arm, and used his own weight to throw. The warrior down. A rack hit the ground hard, gasping. Nate looked down, exhausted but ready. It is over, Vork said softly. The judge floated down. This match ends. The human, Nate Harper, is the champion. The arena erupted in cheers. Aliens and humans alike were amazed. A rack stood and approached Nate. He held out his hand. You have proven humans are stronger than we thought, Vork said. Nate shook the hand firmly. And you taught me what respect means, as the crowd cheered. Nate felt proud but humble. He had fought not just for himself but for all humans. He had shown the galaxy that even a Marine with a hangover could be a hero. The cheers in the arena did not stop. Nate Harper stood tall, tired but victorious. The Marine with a hangover had defeated the strongest warrior of the galaxy, General Vork. The news spread quickly through every corner of the universe. After the fight, the Galactic Council called a meeting. Leaders from many species gathered to discuss what had happened. Some were surprised, some were proud, and some were thoughtful. An alien diplomat spoke first. We thought humans were weak, but now we see their strength and courage. Nate Harper showed us that heart and what can be even the greatest power. Another leader added, perhaps it is time to welcome humans as true members of the galactic community. Back on Earth, Nate returned quietly. He did not want medals or fame. He just wanted to rest. I'm just a Marine, he told his friends. I did what any human would do. But people knew better. Nate became a symbol, a reminder that humans could never be ignored or underestimated. Meanwhile, General Vork trained harder. He respected Nate and hoped one day to fight him again, not as enemies, but as equals. In the stars, ships and fleets talked about the battle for years. Humans were no longer the unknown weaklings. They were warriors. One day, a young human soldier asked Nate, how did you win? Nate smiled. I was tired and had a hangover, but I never gave up. Sometimes that is enough. And so, the story of the Marine with a hangover became legend, a story told across planets and stars. It was a story about courage, heart, and the unexpected strength inside every human. The galaxy had learned a lesson: never judge a human by their first look inside. They carried the fire to change everything. And the stars watched quietly, waiting for the next chapter.